warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first seminar of the DigiBiz Talk, Build Your Business with 3D Printing, brought to you by AITI. This session will define 3D printing and look at business reasons for wanting to make use of this new area of technology. Next, I would like to invite Yang Mulia Muhammad Nuril Ham bin Haji Zaini from AITI to give their welcoming remarks.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning to you all. Thank you for taking the time out to participate in today's session of our DigiBiz Talk webinar. It is a great pleasure for the Authority of Info Communication Technology Industry of Brunei Darussalam, AITI, to welcome you all to this webinar on Build Your Business with 3D Printing. Ladies and gentlemen, DigiBiz Talk is one of the initiatives by AITI to encourage ICT and digital adoption in the country, particularly to support the growth of the businesses through a series of seminars relating to emerging technologies. Today's seminar aims to promote the opportunities to build your own business with 3D printing. It is to create insight based on 3D printing through real-world case study and examples, and look at the business reason for wanting to make use of this new area of technology. 3D printing technology has originated from the layer-by-layer fabrication technology of three-dimension structures directly from computer-aided design, drawing. 3D printing technology is a truly innovative and has emerged as a versatile technology stage. It opens new opportunities and gives hope on many possibilities for companies looking to improve manufacturing efficiency. Nowadays, 3D printing is widely used in the world. 3D printing technology is increasingly used for the mass customization, production of any type of open source designs in the field of agriculture, in health, automotive industry, and aerospace industries. Ladies and gentlemen, to have a better understanding on the 3D printing, in this session, we have invited a moderator and regional expert speakers in the field of 3D printing. Before I end, I would like to thank Recap for facilitating this webinar. I wish everyone have an enjoyable and very informative session. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Finally, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our esteemed speakers, Ebrahim Emran, who is joining us today all the way from Malaysia, alongside Raja Risqi, all the way from Indonesia. More on their introduction will be covered by our own Hazman Hassan, who will be our moderator for today. He is known as the Director of Operations in Suara Kitani, but he also has experience in being an educator and a senior developer who finds passion in bringing relevant issues to Brunei.
Thank you, Hani. I would like to address to our honorable speakers, Mr. Ebrahim Emran from UAGER Trading Limited, and Mr. Raja Risqi, the CEO of Autoconz 3D Construction Printing. Welcome. And also the staffs from AITI and Recap Sdn Bhd, and also our distinguished attendees for today's DigiBiz Talk with the topic of Build Your Business with 3D Printing. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to every one of you. Thank you for joining today's talk. I hope everyone had breakfast already. If you have not eaten your breakfast, do take your breakfast and while eating your breakfast, have a listen to the talks that both our speakers is going to discuss for today. So the session will be 2 hours with both sessions by Mr. Ebrahim and Mr. Raja, and there will be a Q&A later on after both sessions ended. So I think you guys should be prepared with food and drinks at the meantime lah. So sit down and relax about this. So the topic today is about build your business with 3D printing. So we all know that how 3D printer looks like and how the printing works, and how efficient is it, and how convenient it has come to the digital eras nowadays, where you can easily print anything that you want through a blueprint that you have designed from AutoCAD or other designing softwares. So we understand that 3D printing has been in the world ever since 1940s, 1950s, where the idea of 3D printing was created, and then after multiple research and development, it became to what we have nowadays. So 3D printing have been used in multiple industries such as medicine and also where the prosthetics or artificial artery created, and then construction where they build houses in a matter of days rather than months. And even now, if I'm not mistaken, food can be printed now. If with the proper tools. Say remember when during the internet times that there's a meme saying that how I wish I can download food. So now with the 3D printing, probably we can download food from anywhere and everywhere around the world. Probably it's just an idea or, and another next innovation methods or techniques that we can discuss later on. So for today's topic, we're going to discuss and learn more about what is 3D printing, and this is more focused on the business side in Brunei Darussalam. So how 3D printing can help to grow or expand your businesses, and how it will be a game changer as well in Brunei Darussalam. And maybe any one of you or everyone will have a 3D printer at home for personal use or for business use as well. So we also know that 3D printing have already made an impact to businesses out there, and some say that really helps to get the solution that you needed instantly in everywhere. So I hope this talk today can inspire the listeners in regards of ideas and innovative thinking towards 3D printing. So I would like to break down a bit about the session today, where Mr. Ebrahim Arman will be the first speaker, where the session will be talking more about what is 3D printing and the advantages and disadvantages of 3D printing in the business model. While on the second session will be Mr. Raja Risqi. We'll be discussing more how to start a 3D printing business and how will it be profitable if you all like start up a business on 3D printing. Perhaps this session also is going to help us to understand how 3D printing can help in the economic development and economic and technological development in Brunei Darussalam. We'll put a disclaimer here. Any questions will be addressed after these two sessions finish, or you can put your questions as well in the Q&A chat, which is below the Zoom, below your screen. I think there will be the. Okay, so before we start, I would like to introduce a little bit about our speaker, Mr. Ebrahim Emran, who is a computer numerical control machine operator, as well as one of the 3D designer and programming from Yiwu Egger Trading Limited. I believe that Mr. Ebrahim has experience in regards of 3D printing about 7 years plus, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Mr. Ebrahim? Yeah, I think you're muted.
I'm muted.
So I think about 7 years of handling and designing 3D printing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk a little more later on about your experiences as well. And also, Mr. Raja Risqi is the CEO of Autoconz 3D Construction Printing, which is based in Indonesia, where I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the focus of the company is to develop 3D printing for construction machinery that can be utilized widely on a national and international level. Is that correct, Mr. Raja?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you very much.
All right. So we'll later on we'll talk about this. If any one of you have more questions regarding the company itself, what they do or what the company does, please do not hesitate to put your questions on into the Q&A. So without further ado, I would like to invite our first speaker, Mr. Ebrahim Emran, to begin the first session for this morning DigiBiz Talk. So Mr. Ebrahim, the floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I will talk about introduction to 3D printing because I started my internship and workshop in 3D printer and 3D printing maintenance. So my presentation will be like introduction to 3D printer by define the 3D printer and how it developed, give some histories about when it started and how it reached until now, advantage and disadvantage about the 3D printer and the 3D printing industry. Then the type of 3D printers that available in the market that can be anyone can purchase it and work with it. Then talking about the prices and some examples and applications of the 3D printers, and also I will finally give some predictions from some experts and from myself how it will be in future 3D printers. So at the beginning, the 3D printer definitions is like a process of manufacturing that create a physical objects from digital models through CAD system or CAD software, such as SolidWorks, Autodesk, or SketchUp, and ZBrush, any drawing until you then you transfer it to 3D printer and you get the actual physical type of prototypes that you have designed in 2D. So for giving the history, it started before, but from 1940 they start to concern about 3D printing. So they started like to print from like a small plastic extruded, and then they started to draw like glue gun to draw houses and some simple, but it was very slow. Then later on in 1970 by Jane Gatwald, he get a patent the liquid metals. He started like to put the metals layer by layer and melting iron and copper. So in 1980, they started like to program the 3D printers in 3 axes, X, Y, and Z. And it's by extruder, it's moving in X and Y and Z and plate in Z. Then they're starting to casting and fabrication in 1990. They started to build like 3D printers, all 3D printers, and afford it to the education and university. In 2000, the first printers, it's from fused depositions, which is include extruder that melting very fast the plastic and building as the programs X and Y in C++ and other programs. In 2010, like the adaptive process measures and become more clear that soon the metal remover would be no longer to be only metal. Like they started to use another different of metals, even wood. They started to programs for foods, protein, and other things. So in 2012, they developed systems for closing the loop. At the plastics, like they bought the structures and they finish it all in same the printers. Until now, like with the developing of 3D printers, now there is too many types in 3D printer, like different filaments, different metals, and different industries. They're using the 3D printers. They're using it in medicines, in robotics, in mechanic, and they design it everything in constructions also. So by giving the advantage of 3D printers, there is availability. 3D printer systems are much more available and can be used much wider range of people in traditional manufacturing setups for engineering students, and it's like quite not expensive and involve settings in a traditional manufacturing. 3D printer setups cost much less. Also, 3D printers is almost completely automated. Like when it's programmed, you just need to get the printers and start to work with it. Quality As mentioned before, it's relative to quality for available, and the quality of the products that you can get from 3D printers. It's high quality, and the percentage of batch parts is being defective, and it's like compared to the rest of the parts in CNC machines or other parts, it's more quality. Rapid prototypes, when you're using a 3D printers to build your idea, and you get rapid prototypes faster than other manufacturing. And as long as you draw your idea in a CAD or 2D and transfer it to a CAD, then to the 3D printers, you get to an idea, whatever it is. You can print your idea structures, and you can show it in any field that you are working. Income and jobs, also one of the 3D printer advantage is give you incomes. You can design your ideas or your business and sell it, and you can like design anything in a 3D printers and develop it and sell your products. Affordable price, most the printers they can be afforded by people and education field, and also manufacturing. They can own their printers, and they also, some students, they can buy the parts who like have habit in programming and create his own printer from the scratch. Career helps by like when you compete the market, you can you can help your career by build your idea and show it as examples for the market. Another one is challenging. It's give you more challenging when you like motivate to create more designs and develop the designs that already exist in manufacturing or in robotics or in medicals. You can solve some problems by designing in 3D and printed in a 3D. Flexibility, the type of the printers give you more flexibility that you can, like such a normal printer, you can install it at home and work with it. Only need connections and then work with it. No waste. There is no waste material when you order the printer to print an object. You just like as you want to print the objects itself, it directly print without most wastage of the material such as BLA or plastic or iron, even gold. When you like make a gold structure, it's easier for you just design on a 3D printer, and it extrude no wasting for material around. Sustainability, surely 3D printers is like there is no emission, and so it's saving the environment, and there is no much labor, like saving the human beings time. And also the prices, it's cheap prices, and the materials, it comes mostly from recycle, and you can recycle the material. If you like printed wrongly the objects, you can send it to recycle it, and they will recycle it, and you print it again as a filament. Disadvantage, there is some disadvantage in 3D printers. One of them is the limited materials. There are limited materials, but the industry is still studying. Like they started to print skin or protein or medicines, but the materials are limited because the printer cannot hold all the materials around the world. So they have like a limited materials, and when you have a printer, you only have like a limited material to it because it's extrude for exact temperatures. So metals is different than the plastic. So the printer of plastics is different than the printers of metal and wood or glass. Restrict both sides, like the printers as you bought it, it's have an exact size that you cannot build a big one, or you cannot make it small. When you get a printers, it's the same size because it's already designed like that, and then you have a specific shapes to design. Post processing, it's need like when you print, some structures need support, especially for the complex structures. You need the post for it. A large volume, it's costs money. Even with the maintenance, you need to watch it, and then you need to pay for maintenance all the time because it's like have some some disadvantages in the maintenance and the filament extrude and the pipes that go through the filaments of the liquid itself. Some printers, they have part structures, the mostly of the 3D printer, because it's layers, even metals, layer by layer by layer. It's make it weak and fragile. So maybe if there is much stress, it will break the structures itself. Reductions in manufacturing jobs, one of the most disadvantage is like, instead of having like 10 workers to work in some piece, you just work designing in CAD and send it to the 3D printer. So the people will lose their jobs, especially the workers and laborers who work in the machines. The last one is the copyrights. Anyone can like see any designs in the internet and can design it by itself and claim he is the designer, and you cannot like differentiate between the original designs and the other design. Okay, type of 3D printers. So from here we can see the type of 3D printers. First one is that one, fused deposition modeling. This one is using extruders and some motors that extrude the filaments, such as BLA or ABS. Even they're using gold or silver, and then it's extrude layer by layer. So you can like modify the thickness of the layers, and it's a slow. It's a little bit slow, but it's affordable in the price. The other one is SLA technology. It's a fast prototyping, but it uses a liquid. Like when it's putting a light and dry the liquid. Is a type of a light, layer by layer. But here's like this printer is expensive and need to be used every time, because the liquid, if it's exposed to any light, it already becomes solid. So you have to be careful with this printer. The other one, the digital light processing, is oldest of 3D printing technologies. That is 1997, similar to A, but it's like there is a photopolymer that work from below. Then it's dry the liquid from below, layer by layer, and it's getting out. Selective laser sintering, SLS technology. This one like with a high coding, it like select some layers and in some specific points, layer after layer, and it's like solid them each other with each other and become solid objects that you can see. Especially this using for a powder from nylon or ceramic or glass or iron also. It can be used, and it can generate high quality materials. Selective laser melting. This one is like a melting beam 3D. It's a contain of a powder materials plus very high heat, and then precisions and layer by layer to complete your structures in a 3D. The other one is electron beam melting. Is one of the expensive 3D printers. It uses a powerful electrical and the process between the two, and quite like layer by layer, and very high vacuum. So this one is used mostly in the labs, the education's lab. So it's difficult to use it in the home. Laminated object manufacturing. This one also like an old printer idea, but it still continue until now. They bring plastic in a big roll, and it's so the printer is a very big size, and it's like laminated the layers above the layers in a specific designs for that design that you want, and it's go through like and it's very slow, but it can print big a big size of objectives. Prices is starting from 100, 100 USD dollars. This one is for hobby, for home, for education, for kids to create their own designs. The kids, they can use it, and this one usually use BLA material or ABS recycled materials. It costs you around 100 to 500 USD dollars. The other one is more for printing, like it's more faster and it can use in a school and educations also. And it's like more expensive, around 400 to 1,100, 500, and it's like it's more flexible and more guarantee that it's work for a long time, printing for like 30 hours, 40 hours. It can hold the heat, and it has a fan. This one around 1,000 to 4,000. This one like for manufacturing, for fast prototype for manufacturer, and they can design their prototypes and send it to customers. This kind of printers is more expensive. Like they started to use it in medical labs. It's more than 10,000 USD dollar plus something. It used ABS, nylon. Also, it used some proteins. The most expensive printers, it's around 20 to 100,000 USD dollar. But this high quality printers, and they give more speed and in interfaces, most CAD softwares, STL files, and also the maintenance contracts come with it, such as a Henden company from Germany. They provide maintenance for 10 years for this printer. There are too many applications of 3D printers. Most of the applications and popular applications is starting with the fashion and retails by giving taste, samples, concepts, and fixing some also some cloths. They also using it in space and defenses, such as Tesla recent time, and they're using also in producing food, protein shake for athletes, for gym, and also it's mostly using for medicals, fixing and helping human beings, helping animals, using for creating idols and temples, souvenirs. Then it's used for games, easily to create games and assemblies, and like cubics for kids, puzzles. And lastly, it's used like if you bought it for yourself, you can create your own design and do it yourself, your design by yourself, design your. So first of applications is a fashion. So as you see here, they created some baths, and also the designs gold and accessories. They design the decorations for home, and also sport shoes as Nike, and they did that recently. Fashion shoes like a creative one, vest. They design the whole suits for women and for men. And also you can create your own designs and print it in cloths. Like you can print cotton or plastic or nylon. So here is a video clarify the fashion.
It goes into this that you can wear every single day.
Alisa Yoakum, president of Stacks 3D, tells us how 3D printed fashion is going to be a couture game changer. Let's start with 3D printed wearable clothing.
This actually started as powder in a bed in a 3D printer, and then a model is sent to the computer.
A designer draws up a model of a clothing item using fashion design software and sends the file to the 3D printing computer.
That computer slices up that model, so it has a layer by layer approach to how it's going to print it. And a laser goes in and hardens up that powdered material into the chainmail that you see here.
The finished product still has a plastic texture, but when worn over a bodysuit, it flows and moves with the body comfortably. Next, this technology isn't limited to clothing. It can also create jewelry with unusual designs.
And take a ring like this that has been printed in brass, and you'll see that there are two layers to this. So this top layer has much larger holes. Inside is much smaller.
While traditional jewelry can be designed using tools to cut and engrave, 3D printing allows designers to shape metal and plastics in ways that can't be done by hand.
There's nothing that you would ever be able to do that could have you get this kind of complex or impossible geometry together in the traditional sense.
3D printed clothing? Check. 3D printed jewelry? Check. Finally, 3D printed fashion accessories.
These cool blue glasses I'm wearing are from eyeglass designer Edward Biner.
Andrew, Dr. Fashion Bernstein, is a huge fan of these lightweight 3D printed glasses that can be customized in any imaginable color or style. He also says to keep an eye out for 3D printed ties like the one he's wearing that can be made in just a few hours and are flexible and durable.
Look at that.
It goes into this that you can wear every single day.
Okay, then next I'll talk about the food. They started to print a meat like Awago meat from Japan. They started to copy it and print it. Also, they printed a specific food for health and hospitals. They started to, like some people, most of the restaurants, they started to use it for dessert designs. And also by as they said, by they printing the foods layers by layers, such as this burger, cookies, and designs for cakes. Also, there's different shapes of cookies, burgers, and even pizza. They started to print it in Japan in some countries and get the pizza ready in like 7 minutes to 10 minutes. You have a pizza in your hand. So here is the video about how they started to use a 3D printer in the food industry.
A juicy, sizzling steak made by computer. While obtaining regular meat is a process that's been taking place for millennia, cow, butcher, beef, Redefined Meat, a meat alternative startup out of Israel, makes their product using a highly technical process. The mix of soy and pea protein, chickpeas, beetroot, nutritional yeast, and coconut fat is formed into steak-like shapes using a 3D printer.
Our goal is to become the largest meat company in the world just by harnessing technology instead of animals.
Meat substitutes are not new, but unlike the soy-based crumbles that mimic ground beef, Redefined Meat's product is designed to act, taste, and cut like flank steak.
This is the holy.
Okay, then we talk about mechanical. See, like there's some impossible shapes that can be done by other machines, but in a 3D printer, here is my robot, in a 4-legged robot. I have printed in 3D printers. This one of my stories that like I tried to build when I was 12 years, but it was impossible. When I found the 3D printer, I started to print this one. It didn't cost me too much, and it's fully functioned. I will show it later in 3D printers. So you can print also the whole cars. They started to print the whole cars, some gears, some speed transmissions, and quadruped, some designs and gears also. Here is a turbine being built by 3D printers, and here is how the parts are printed. So easily you can assemble it and work with it. So here is the video of the 4-legged robot. This one I have designed it by myself and programmed it. And my final year projects for ABU 2017. And here is the other one for a turbine 7-speed. This only done by 3D printer. Otherwise, it will be very difficult and need a long time. Like this turbine, it took around 20 hours to build. complex design. I have like here complex design of a jack. I also have designed this one by myself. I have it right here in front of me. So as you can see, it is one printed time. So this one, if I print it, if I do it in other things or assemble it, it takes time. This one didn't take me like 35 minutes to print it in normal printing. So this is how we design it, and the screw inside it, like you can screw it. Another things, we have designed motorbikes, small motorbikes that also fully function. It contains around 72 parts. It takes time, but we have designed it and assembled it in regular LTD that in 2015, 2016. Then already exists, like this car already exists for 90% has been printed in 3D printers and some future robots. So here is the how it's worked. It takes only like 35 minutes to print, and no much wasting material or anything. As you see, you can like screw, and it's one material. No need to assembly. It's already assembly. Okay, we move to medicals, which is interesting object here in the slides. There is like in medical sections, the 3D printer helps to build parts for humans, and also like skulls and bones. They also print facial parts such as nose, ears, and they started to print recently the skin from protein. And like in some hospital in Australia, they printed a kidney and install it in human beings. And they started to print a heart, but they start testing it. Here is also some parts, very helpful parts for humans, legs and hands, and some organs. Here is a video how the 3D printers help the educations of medicals and helps the students to study more and see the objects instead of like bring real humans or real parts. They already have 3D printers and they can explain on it.
Attempting what many of us might see as impossible, trying to learn and memorize human anatomy. It really is no mean feat.
There are so many structures in the body. Organs in the abdomen, they are relatively easy. But the head and neck anatomy is, I felt, is a more complex because of the intricate structures.
Traditionally, students have used plastic models to learn about the body, but they're rigid and generally not anatomically accurate. There are also plastinated cadavers, real human bodies injected with plasticine, but they also have their drawbacks. And because they are actual human bodies, they're very hard to come by. Professor Magali was searching for a better way.
So when I was reading, I learned about 3D printing technology. I thought, okay, we can also use this technology.
Others in the field were 3D printing models of human body parts. Professor Magali took this a step further. He realized if they use multiple different materials, they can make parts of the body, such as the veins or bones, feel different and even be different colors. Here, after 15 hours on the printer, you have an anatomically correct model of the heart. Relatively cheaper and easier to replicate, they can be used in countries that may otherwise, perhaps for religious reasons, not have access to real human cadavers, helping to better educate the next generation of doctors. Trying to learn and memorize human anatomy, it really is no mean feat.
There are so many structures in the body. The organs in the abdomen, they are relatively easy. The organs in the abdomen, they are relatively easy. But the head and neck anatomy is, I felt, is a more complex.
Students attempt.
Okay, second chance, like giving second chance by 3D printers for some people who already lost the hope, or some animals already lost the hope to live more. Here is some examples. Here the girl, like she born with a problem in her jaw, she cannot breathe. So I have the video from the news that they told her parents the blue light and she cannot live, but they printed the jaw and installed to the kids. Another one is the structures for broken arm or broken legs. These structures makes for healthcare easier, so it can be breathed and it can be like modified for each person's as the size. So there is no itching or sweating. So you can see your hands. You can see your hands and clean it with the times. Also, there is another type of structures for the legs. It can help you to walk and no need to cover all of your legs or of the broken legs. So instead, you will just print for the area that is broken with some little of springs and mechanicals, and normally you can walk until the leg is fixed. Here is also another designs for a neck. They help the necks to rebuild instead of buying. For animals, they installed the jaw for some turtle, for a goat. For goat skulls, also they born without skulls. Here is a toucan beak. They printed in 3D printers and put it on his Benjuan leg, helped the Benjuan to have another chance to walk. And here is the videos.
First, though, how medical science is saving lives in ways we never could have imagined. When baby Sophia was born with a rare condition, her surgeon turned to 3D printing to help solve the problem, asking biomedical engineers to build a custom-made plastic skull. Graham Butler has her incredible story.
Nice to see you again. Look at how she's grown.
Baby Sophia is a happy, healthy little girl, but her life didn't start out that way. A textbook delivery suddenly became a full-blown emergency.
She wasn't crying, and then we heard code blue. It's not an easy sight when you see, you know, a minute-old baby and they're doing compressions on her chest. We didn't know if she was going to make it.
Sophia couldn't breathe. She was placed on a ventilator while doctors tried to find out what was wrong.
Sophia was born with complete blockage of the nose, and she's not able to breathe through her nose, which is a life-threatening condition for a baby.
Babies can't breathe through their mouths. Scans revealed a rare condition causing bone to fuse over Sophia's nasal cavity. Urgent surgery was the only solution, but Dr. Ha was concerned about operating on such a tiny baby.
She was born fairly small for her age as well. Whether the instruments are going to fit in her nose was one of the most important consideration, whether I can do the surgery in such a small baby.
Dr. Ha came up with an idea that would allow her to practice the surgery first.
We just got a phone call from the surgeon at PMH who was looking for a model to be made very quickly.
Technology was the answer. From CT scans of baby Sophia's skull, an exact 3D model was produced. Side by side against an adult skull, you can see how tiny Sophia was and the task ahead for Dr. Ha.
It's often much easier to have the solid object in your hand, to turn over, roll around. And if they want to practice surgery, as in this case, they really needed to know if the instruments were going to fit. The only real way to do that is to either try them in the patient or in our case, try them on a model.
And that's exactly what Dr. Ha did. The model revealed that normal surgical instruments would be too big. She turned instead to those used for operating in the small recesses of the ear.
To be able to know what we're going into as surgeons before we get there, it gives you the confidence. And the skull itself, I was able to explain to Sophia's parents exactly what the condition is, because it's so hard to draw or for them to visualize exactly what's going on.
We could see exactly the scope of what needed to be done and to make sure that the surgeon had the right tools that would fit properly in her nose.
Knowing before surgery exactly what was required saved time, and that means less time under anaesthetic. Sophia has now had several procedures to open her nasal passages, with at least one more to go.
Hopefully it's the last procedure, but I mean, there could be more to come.
She's a tough little cookie.
Yes, she is.
As well as breathing clearly, Sophia has a remarkable souvenir.
Some people cast their baby's feet and hands, or we've got her head.
Okay, here is about the animals. So
Animals survived terrible injuries and were left without the means to eat, drink, or walk. Thankfully, dedicated caretakers and 3D printing technology have provided them with the means to start new lives with cutting-edge prosthetics. Keep watching to check out these amazing creatures. Beauty the bald eagle. This beautiful bald eagle was shot in the face by a hunter when she was 6 years old. Her beak was completely destroyed and she was left to starve in the woods. Thankfully, someone found her and immediately transferred her to a wildlife rehabilitation center. Despite many experts telling her to euthanize Beauty, Birds of Prey Northwest medic Jane Cantwell knew something could be done. She teamed up with 3D printing engineers, wildlife experts, and a dentist to develop this SolidWorks nylon polymer beak. Lola the sea turtle. Lola lost her flipper a decade ago when she became severely entangled in fishing line. Knowing this, students at Worcester Polytechnic Institute assisted with the development of a prosthetic flipper in hopes of helping her and other injured sea turtles in the future. Using 3D printing, the students created the first ever hydrodynamic biomimetic flipper. Lola is now able to swim and feed normally and remains an ambassador for her species at the Key West Aquarium. Kemp's Ridley sea turtles are the rarest sea turtles on the planet and are critically endangered. Only about 1,000 nesting females remain. Winter the dolphin. Winter, a bottlenose dolphin, was found stranded in a lagoon near Cape Canaveral, Florida. At only 2 months of age, she had become wrapped in a crab trap line which cut off circulation to her tail flukes. The rescue team at Clearwater Marine Aquarium tried to heal her flukes, but despite their best efforts, the tissue could not be saved. Though she does quite well without the use of her flukes, swimming side to side like a shark, this unnatural movement puts stress on her spine. Knowing this, a team of experts came together to develop a silicone and plastic tail for her. With it, she swims much more comfortably. Moshe the elephant. This sweet Asian elephant named Moshe was only 7 months old when she stepped on a landmine and completely destroyed her front leg. Wanting to give her a better life, wildlife rehabilitators at Friends of the Asian Elephant set her up with a prosthetic. Because animal prosthetics are a work in progress, this is now her 9th artificial leg. Landmines are common around the region due to decades of rebels fighting with the Myanmar government. Unfortunately, foraging animals often suffer as a result. Fred the tortoise. Fred the red-footed tortoise, actually a female, lost the majority of her shell in a forest fire. Not only did she lose her shell, she survived 2 bouts of pneumonia and 45 days without food. Lucky for her, a team was willing to put in the time and effort to nurse her back to health and to build her a new shell. The elaborate corn plastic-based plastic shell was printed using a 3D printer, and it took over 50 hours for each piece to print. Then, the team assembled the shell and painted it to look more realistic. Fred now enjoys an easier life with a dedicated caretaker. Grisha the toucan. Grisha had her beak hacked off by an unknown individual in Costa Rica. Thankfully, compassionate locals brought her to a rescue center where dedicated workers nursed her back to health. Knowing she wouldn't survive without a functional beak, doctors and engineers developed a prosthetic beak that would help her live a more normal life. Her two-part beak is made of nylon and was created with a 3D printer. The top portion was glued to her stump with epoxy, and the second part is attached with a pin. The team decided to attach the larger portion with a pin so it can be removed for cleaning. Now she lives comfortably at Zoo Ave, a private animal rescue center outside Costa Rica's capital. Akut 3, the sea turtle. This 100-pound loggerhead sea turtle named Akut 3, or less formally, Terminator turtle, endured a boat collision that obliterated his jaw. Lucky for him, someone found him in distress and brought him to Sea Turtle Research, Rescue, and Rehabilitation Center in Dalyan, Turkey. Knowing he wouldn't be able to fend for himself without the use of his jaw, the rescue team partnered with BTech Innovation, a company specializing in medical prosthetics. Together, they were able to develop a 3D jaw for this tenacious turtle. If his body doesn't reject the prosthesis, it's possible that he will be returned to the wild. Rhino horns. A new 3D printing technology might be able to rewrite the story of one of the world's most endangered creatures, the rhinoceros. The Pembient company has been able to reproduce the rhino horn, which is prized on the black market for its medicinal and cosmetic value, and is hoping to put rhino poachers out of business. Last year, 1,215 rhinos were poached, or one rhino every 8 hours. Wildlife experts think the entire range of rhino species could be extinct in 5 to 10 years. Rhino horns are especially valuable in Asian countries, where they are a status symbol and the horns are used in various traditional remedies. The horns sell for $30,000 a pound, more expensive than cocaine and even gold. Amazingly, the new technology recreates horns that are exactly like the real thing, indistinguishable in lab and genetic tests. They use the same keratin proteins, inorganics, metal, minerals, and actual rhino DNA to achieve the results. Some wildlife experts are skeptical about the replicated horns, thinking that it will only make it harder to catch the poachers who are selling the real horns illegally. The horns are so valuable that poachers in developing countries can feed their family for a year after
First, though,
animals survive.
Here is also the recent projects has been happened in 2021 during the COVID-19. One of them is the printing 3D printer car, fully 3D printers, and the boot. And the boot also, the 3D print car is like 90% has been printed in 3D printers. Also, they printed drones, and they can like program it and everything. Another thing has been helps in
but on a 3D printer. Local Motors CEO Jay Rogers believes it'll revolutionize the way cars are made.
I like to think about it as you go to a car wash today and you stand in front of the window and you're like, look at my car getting washed. It's the same thing. Look at my car being made, being printed.
Right now, that takes 40 hours, but the goal is to get it under 12.
What is printed and what is not printed?
About 95% of the volume of the car is printed. Structure, body, closeouts, all that stuff's all printed. We don't print tires right now. We don't print wheels. We don't print springs. And we're not right now printing the motor.
Rogers says an electric version of this vehicle could be available by the end of the year and start anywhere from $18,000 to $30,000.
Right.
And instead of picking from the dealer's lot, each consumer is a designer.
You can come and say, I want 4 seats. I want 5 seats. I want 6 seats.
But there could be roadblocks ahead. These first models are built to cruise around neighborhoods at under 40 miles per hour. To get on the highway, they'll need to meet rigorous federal road safety standards.
So this is pretty sturdy.
Yeah,
here.
this is really sturdy.
And he'll need to convince customers that a printed car is safe.
I think you hear plastic and you think of something flimsy. You don't think if you're on the highway next to a Mack truck that plastic is going to protect you?
This is carbon fiber reinforced thermoplastic. So what we're talking about is something that actually is an aerospace grade material.
The car of the future. Just click, print, and drive away. For CBS This Morning Saturday, Juliana Goldman, Detroit.
It's amazing how fast 3D printing has moved forward. I mean, that we're already looking at.
But on a
Okay. After we watching this, there is some predictions about the 3D printer industry. So one of them is mainstream technology. 3D printer will become a mainstream exactly in a serial productions as Andy Campbell, CEO of Rice. She says that. So the 3D printers has a long past points and like will viewed only as prototype solutions for manufacturing along the industry. Yeah. Second predictions by presence of Hall Associates. He says the design software will adapt and become more integrated and easier to use. This is almost on the way. Now the applications are very easy. Maybe you can use it from your phones and send it to the printers. As the mediator said before, we can print our food and come to take our foods as we want. Educations, revenge in carbon performance. She said focusing on educations will enable the 3D printer applications and adaptations more of the times and help the students to improve their study and to show their designs. Dentals, 3D printers will help the dental and dentists to create teeth and help their, as you see in the videos, how they build the jaw and some teeth. CIO of 40, Josha, he says the 3D printer will become more smarter and easier for people to use, and it will continue to help this to become more easier. And 3D printer exactly will be expanded in the market as you see and test comparing to the the electrical car. 3D printer is more faster. 3D like a car, electrical car is 100 years, something like that. They started to improve it, but the 3D printer is more faster. Now they already started to print organs and proteins, and they also try to print some viruses and help human beings and some parts. So it's become more easier. Metal 3D printings. Usually 3D printers started to print in 3D printings and it's developed. As the car says, he printed 95% of the car, but the springs he didn't print. But in the future they will print it and they like make it more stronger. Market opportunity. 3D printers will offer a huge market opportunities for people and work from home. The 3D printers like helps recently during COVID-19 the people to work from home and designs like phone covers, accessories for home, many things at home. Another predictions is automations will be the next steps in evaluations of 3D printing. So one of the hardware side, like the 3D printers will manufacturer and binder getting metal 3D printers has paired its systems with robots and IoT, drones, cars, auto cars. So it will become more automation. The additive manufacturing industry will deliver as it is promised, and it's delivering more fast in recent years, especially during COVID-19, as the founder of advocacy firm said that. So thank you. Is my presentation. I hope I have cleared about the 3D printer.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ibrahim, for that wonderful insight in and introduction on towards 3D printing and its advantages and disadvantages. What intrigues me is that the the things that 3D printing can do um towards a lot of things, especially like the examples, no, no, the industry that it ventures in, especially food, fashion, space and defense, medicals, cultural games, and DIY. But the ones that really caught my attention was the two things: was the complex design and the second chance on life for towards 3D printing. I mean, it's I think most of us are like mm, our eyes are it's an eye-opening thing because the second child I didn't realize that 3D printing also can help giving second chances to people, especially the kid who are having problem with breathing, and then through 3D printing 3D printed skull that they are able to do successful surgery on that, as well that designing the animals parts for them to have a second chance in life. So I mean, I think Mr. Ibrahim have much more experience towards designing and how difficult is that? I mean, designing of the certain parts of the animals and also probably the human skulls as well. How why is it like it's not easy to do? Can you like elaborate on that?
No, no. If you're involving in humans and animals, it will be difficult because of the like hygiene problem. You want to clean it. About the designing is easy. You can just draw it in a CAD system. Uh, any designs you have the measurement, you design it, then you send it to 3D printer. But usually for medical sections, it should be in the lab because for hygienes and testings, and it should be like a raw materials and clean materials to attach to human beings or to animals because it get infected. But as a design, it's easy for anyone. Like he sees some things and he know about CAD designing, he can design it and attach it, and simulate it in software before he like send it to the medical.
So you're saying that there's a specific type of materials to use
Yeah,
for human body parts and as well for medical reasons as well.
yeah, surely this is a type of material. So they using like inside the lab, they using a protein, they using skin, they using another different materials. And the printers like need to clean every time. It's a lot, like hard in attaching to human being. But in designing, it's as I said, it's easy to design it 3D and simulate it. Maybe someone is not related to engineering or to medicals, he can do that things.
Okay, all right. We have a question here. It says, at what level should 3D be taught to, as it is the initial skill required for 3D printing? This is a question from Muhammad Effendi Haji Muhammad Jeffrey. So he's asking what level of 3D should be taught and what skills are required for 3D printing.
Actually, in 2016, I started to work in exact 3D maintenance, 3D printing, 3D printer. I had an internship students from electrical section. Like they took 3 weeks and they started to print their they like from scratch. They don't know anything about the 3D design or a 3D software. They started in 3 weeks and they started to print their designs in 3D printers. Like you send the documents to print in a normal 3D printer. You design it in your computer and then you send it to the printer and they print it for you.
So you mean that it doesn't have to have a high level understanding. You
You
just have
don't.
to have your
Yeah,
software, and then you just need a 3D printer for it.
yeah, and you can learn it from online. You can like practice with the practice and practice the measurements. You can see and then you send it to the printers and see the assembly, how you assemble it. Is it okay? If not, you print it again. Then you print it again. It's okay, and then it's not even expensive. It's cheap. The roll of the filaments, it's around like $5 US. The normal filament.
I see.
Prototype. Yeah.
I see. I see. Okay. I think we'll leave more question and answer session later on. So if you have any, if the audience have any more questions to you like to ask, you can have the questions to be asked on the question and answer chat. So okay. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. We'll have a break for 5 minutes, and then I will proceed to Mr. Raja's session later on. So again, just a reminder to everyone that if you have any questions that you would like to ask, you can ask at the Q&A chat, and we will be addressing the questions later on. So thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. Let's have a break for 5 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Please come back if you're not here yet, and don't forget to bring your food and drinks if it's possible, because it's important to stay focused and trying to learn about this 3D printing, because I myself is quite awake right now because Mr. Ibrahim just now showed a lot of things what 3D printing can do, especially in the medical field, and also someone is trying to build a car less than 12 hours, which is probably in the near future is going to be there where you can print your own car from home. All right, so without further ado, I would like to introduce as well our next speaker, which is Mr. Raja Risqi. Hello, Mr. Raja, are you there?
Hello, I'm here.
All right, great. So whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Let me start. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. First of all, please allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Raja Risqi Apriandy. You can call me Raja. Just Raja, it's fine. You don't have to use Mr. Raja or Brother Raja. Just Raja, it's fine. I'm the CEO of Autoconz. Our company is actually a construction technology company, and right now we are developing the technology of 3D printing for construction. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Autoconz. So, in short, our purpose to build this company is to make everyone can have house. Yeah. With that, we hope we hope that if everybody can have house, it can increase their living quality. And if their living quality is increased, it can reduce the social disparity between us. And one of our way to do that is by developing this 3D printing construction technology. So everybody can have access to affordable houses. So we also have milestones in our mind that in 2025, we want to become the top mind of 3D printing construction technology in Indonesia. And in order to do that, we want this technology can be implemented nationally, implemented everywhere in our country. And if it's possible, we also want to distribute this technology to neighbor country such as Brunei, Malaysia, Philippines, etc., etc., etc. Now, the host, who's there, the people from Recap asked me to explain the business about 3D construction printing. But before we go to that topic, I want to explain a little bit about 3D construction printing technology. More or less, the explanation about this technology is almost the same with what Ebrahim already told us. It's about additive manufacturing methods, and it's also one of the technology that can reduce time and cost of production. But especially in 3D printing for construction, we use this technology to build houses. We use this technology to build infrastructure. By using this technology, of course, just like any other 3D printing technology, it can reduce waste, it can reduce time, and it can reduce cost as well. Now, in order to make this technology functionally, we need to develop, and we already developed the material, the special material for 3D printing for construction. We also build the machinery, and we also develop the software to control the machinery and the material, because if we don't have the software, how can we operate the machinery? And if we don't have the machinery, how can we make the material works? All of this technology we build in-house, especially the material and the software, and the machinery, we design it by ourselves. So because if we not develop it by ourselves, the compatibility between the material and the machinery won't be fit and proper to each other. If we build the machine and we bring the material from another source, it won't work. And if we build the material but we buy another machinery from other vendor, it won't work either. So that's why we build this technology in parallel manners. So we build material and we also build the machinery, so it can complement each other, if you know what I mean. So it can suit to each other. So this is what we develop in our company. With that technology, we can offer construction services. Yes, if anybody want to build house, if anybody want to build infrastructure such as bus stop or maybe public toilet, we can use this machine to build. And of course, we can build house with this technology as well. Because we also develop and build our own machinery and material, this machinery and material also available to sell or to rent. If you have your own project and you want to have your own machinery, we can provide it. And we also provide the machinery alongside with the material. So you don't have to worry to source the material. Where should I get the material? Don't worry about it. We can provide it for you. And we also offer end-to-end services. Maybe like one of the client asking, "Oh, Mr. Raja, please build us a house." We don't want to know the detail about the technical aspect. We just want the house to be done. So we can offer this kind of services. We can design the house. We can prepare the land. We can prepare the machinery. We can prepare everything according to the request of the client. Now, why we built this technology in the first place? Because there is opportunity, especially in our own country. One of the ministry in our country give advice to the public that to adopt 3D printing for technology to increase efficiency and accelerate project development, especially in construction. And we also have another ministry that have a plan to adopt 3D printing technology for our 1 million house program. And we also have another technology, another news from the middle of this 2021 that the construction industry will gradually recover in the third quarter, or if not fourth quarter in this year. Because we are now in the fourth quarter in this year, we can already see the recovery phase, and hopefully in the next year it will start to gradually increase again. That's the opportunity. We also have another opportunity in our own country, which is the recommendation for the use of domestic construction materials. All of our technology is from domestic material. especially for the cement or the mortar or the construction material. We procure it from our local vendor. So it can be said that we really minimize the need of importing. It's also one of the instruction from our president to use domestic construction material, and it's our Minister of Public Works and Public Housing also imposing prohibition of imported material construction. And we also have from our vice chairman, they push us to use all of the construction material from domestic source, because we already built that. So that is the opportunity for us. And the near future prospect for our own company, we have a plan to move our capital city from Java Island to Borneo Island, because the capital move, if the capital move, then the need of housing there will be increased, because the worker for government, they need house in the new capital. So we can build that with this technology, 3D construction printing technology, in faster and efficient way. However, about the 3D construction printing technology, there are a lot of doubts about this technology. In short, a lot of people asking, can this technology really solve our current problem about the price of housing, the productivity of our construction? And another also has question about the promise of this technology. Can we really build a lot of house with this technology? Can we really build one house in 24 hours? Yes, there's a lot of question about that. And can this technology really build a home with only $10,000? This is the source from USA, from America, because the basic price of housing in United States is about 100 till $400,000 per house, and now they can just build it for only $10,000. It doesn't make sense at all. How can you really build from $100,000 to just $10,000? That's why we want to make it right now. So actually, this 3D printing for construction technology is not a quick fix for all of our problem in construction. However, it can be one of the best solution for construction. How can it be the best solution? First, it can provide a solution to decrease construction time and cost. The second, it can solve the issue of declining number of construction workers. The third, it can provide us to have less waste construction process, and with the increase of productivity, it can cope with the demand and the backlog of the housing. What I mean here is like the problem of the construction by using this technology can be solved one by one, and accumulatively, it can solve a lot of our problem in construction sector. The decrease of construction, the benefit of the decreasing construction worker and cost, it's supported by a lot of academic journal. One of the academic journal, the title is Automated in Construction, said that 3D printed construction is reliable, cost effective, and efficient compared to conventional solution. In this paper, it didn't say that 3D printing for construction can be the quick fix for construction problem right now. No, it said that construction is 3D printed construction is reliable, cost effective, and efficient compared to conventional problem. So there is some kind of misunderstanding happens in here that saying 3D printing construction can be the quick fix. No, 3D printing is one of the best solution for our current construction problem. And there's a lot of reference that say 3D printing for construction can decrease construction time. A lot of the reference or website already tell about the exact thing about the 3D construction printing. And another academic journal already told about the sustainability of the construction, which is we can access every time, everywhere, and anytime we want. Now, what is the real benefit of 3D construction printing? So this is the simulation that we build. If you want that we create, if you want to build house using this technology, first reducing construction time. In this simulation, we are using type 36 house. Type 36 house in Indonesia is mean the size of the house is 36 meter square. Basically, in our country, this type of house can be built in 3 months or in 4 months if we are in the raining seasons, just like now. By using 3D construction printing technology, it can reduce to 1.5 months or 2 months, which is decreasing 1 to 1.5 months in construction time. With this, we can reduce the cost of the overheads, and we can also increasing the productivity. If in 1 year with one team, we can build like one team of construction can build in 1 year 4 or 5 house. With this machine, we can increase it to 7 to 9 house per year. And another benefit of 3D construction printing, it can give us the benefit of less construction material. In this simulation as well, we are still using the type 36 house. For the type of 36 house, the needs of the material cost of the wall is about 45 million rupiah. I don't know this how much this in the Brunei dollar, but in our currency, with 3D construction printing technology, it can be reduced from 10% up to 15%, depending on the difficulty of the design. And of course, the minimum labor cost. If you want to build the house, it usually takes about 7 or 9 workers to build one house. But with our technology, it can reduce. It only needs about 4 to 5 people. And of course, in the flexibility on how of flexibility in house design, because we are using advanced robotic and machinery, the design of the house, we can add a little bit curve in there. We can add a little bit zigzag in the housing design. But the most common one, we can add curvy design, which is in the term of aesthetic, it will be better than the square one. Now, this is one of our printing process. So right now we have 2 machines. Yep. The V1 and the V2. The V1 is the small machine. The small machine we use for our R&D project, and also if we want to build some kind of hardscapes, maybe for public space, bench for public space, a chair for public space, or maybe a table for public space, we can use this small machine. And we also have the V2 machine. This V2 machine is for house construction. The size is way more bigger than the small one. But we just want to show you in this video the printing process of our machinery. Okay. Hope you can see it now. In this printing process, we are printing bench for public space. The printing process is like this. As I mentioned it before, it's not just a square. This is one maybe a little bit symmetric style of bench. And we have another video of printing process that we want to use you. Oh yeah, by the way, because this is 3D printing for construction technology, the material that you see here, we call it mortar. The mortar is the combination of water, sand, concrete, and another additive. We have the composition of all of these ingredients, and that is our secret formulation, which is already being patented in our country. And the next printing object that we want to show you is this. If this one is the bench, this one is chair. As you can see, in this object is this object is the combination of symmetric and curvy style of printing, the curvy style of architect, or whatever you want to say it. In here, yeah. Let me can I have okay, I will just explain it to you. In this side, you have the symmetrical. In here is symmetrical, and up to here it's a curvy. Back to symmetrical again, and then curvy again. So this is the combination to show you what our machine can do. Now, this is the end product of the. This is the end result of our printing process. One is the bench. As you can see, I'm sitting in here to show you that the strength of this technology is quite strong to hold me. Yep. And it's quite strong to hold another 3% with the size like me. Yeah. And this is the product, the end result of the chair, the one that you see with the combination between curvy and symmetrical. I also show you when I sit in here, yeah, it's also really strong to hold me, and it won't break even my weight is over 100 kilogram. Of course, the main product, or the main product, I mean, like the core of our service is to build house. This is our first housing concept. As you see in here, the house plan, the floor plan of the house, it's also contain the combination of curvy in here, curvy style of wall, and then symmetrical, and in the room is symmetrical, and back to curvy here again, because we already have high technology. If we already have this kind of high tech machinery, why we still build the symmetrical one? Why don't we build the curvy one? That is one of our approach of that is one of our aesthetic approach. If you want to see the concept in video, here you can see the concept. Okay, that is our first housing concept. And we also have our second housing concept. This house is that we are currently working right now. This design is the really basic design of housing in Indonesia. We want to show people that even though we are using we are developing high tech construction technology, we still can fulfill the basic demand of construction in Indonesia with this kind of design. And to show you the design, we also have the video which you can watch it here. Okay, that is the our second housing concept. And then next, I want to show you our printing mechanism. What I mean printing mechanism in the here is the machine to build the house. This video, this house, and this house, we will build it with this machine. This is the design and the real look of our machine. It look like this. I forgot what the type of the mechanism that Ebrahim already told you, but this one is using extruder. You know, this one is using extruder, and the type of frame is the gantry frame or CNC frame or Cartesian frame, whatever you want to say to call it. We built this type of frame because we want to fulfill the needs of public housing. You know, public housing, the construction is not just one house and then we move to another site and then we build house. No, most of the public house in Indonesia, they'll build side to side. Like this is the first house, the second house, the third house, the fourth house. And with this machine, we can build we can print the house just like after one house we build another house, so we don't have to move the machinery from one side to another side. So we design this machine with the with the with the with the purpose of effective and efficient in terms of mobility. Now, we also have domestic advantage. We one of few developer of 3D construction printing technology in Indonesia, and maybe I can tell you that we are the first 3D construction printing company in Indonesia. We are the first one to develop this technology, and we have a fully functioning 3D construction machine and internally tested material. The tensile strength of this of our material is 20 to 25 MPa, which is quite strong. And we also have many technology partnership with relevant industry. Now, in this section, I will answer the most the main question of this webinar: how to apply this technology widely in nationally. In order to make this technology widely adopted nationally, we need to collaborate each other. You know, like we need to collaborate with government. We need to collaborate with other industry as well. Like example, this machine, we collaborate with manufacturing company, which is our own partner. It's called Widya Robotics. Yep, we design this machine. We concepting this machine. We design it, and then we give it to our partner company to manufacture it, to fabricate it for us. And of course, we have to work with government as well, with the policymaker to make this technology eligible, yeah, legal for everyone to use. And of course, because this is also new technology, not just in our country, but globally, 3D construction printing is new for uh, new concept in the world. So first thing first that we need to do is to educate people, the benefit of this technology, to educate people what the potential of this technology, and to educate them about about the benefit of this technology. We need to prove it to them. We need to prove it. We just cannot say like, oh, this technology can give you effective and efficient construction. Oh, with this you can more cheap. You can have a cheaper construction. Well, no, we cannot do just like that. We need to prove it to them. So that's why we have our first project with one of state-owned company in Indonesia, which is called PTPP. Yeah, PTPP means they focus on housing, and this is one of our project to educate people about this technology. Let me fast forward to the, yeah, this is the technology. Okay, as you can see here, this is what I mean by if by collaboration, by educating the society with our technology. In here, you can see that this project is the collaboration between PP here, or we can hear the in English we call it housing company. Yes, state-owned housing company, and inside this housing company, state-owned housing company, they have a technology incubator called Apollo, and one of the technology that one of the company that collaborate with them is us. So with this kind of collaboration, we can deliver this technology to people. Yeah, we can also have our first project, and we can have the access to markets, and we can also have the assessment of the market. What is the market need about this time, about next three years or next 5 years? So in terms of this technology, what we did is we want to build a lot of collaboration, and we also open if you want to collaborate with us in terms of technology development, project arrangement, project implementation based on 3D construction printing technology. So I think that's all for now. From my presentation. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to ask me. And thank you very much. I will stop screen my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Raja. That was really insightful regarding the 3D construction of a house. I think in Indonesia kan pasal there's a lot of population as well, and then the housing areas are not as much as the population itself. But I think with the 3D printed houses are able to solve this issue as you stated earlier on. I mean, how many? There was a question from from someone here. He said, Miss Krishna, I think. She asked, how many houses have you built so far using your technology?
Right now we are working on our first house project. Yeah, for housing project using 3D construction printing in Indonesia. Hopefully, this house will become the first house made by 3D printing technology in Indonesia. So right now we are still building we are still working on one house, but in the next year we have another project of school. Yes, school building. There is a inquiry that come to us to build school room. Yeah, not just school room, to build a school using this 3D printed technology, which we will work on it on next year.
All right, so it means like in a few months, in a few days. So is it the earlier of the year, or is it like somewhere in the middle of the year?
Somewhere in the middle of the year, we will build a school in our country by using this technology. Yeah.
So is it gonna be like a tall building, or is it gonna be like a one-story building?
One-story building. One-story building. So that is interesting. Actually, we already in this middle of the year, we already start to thinking about and to research about second story, 3 stories building. But for now, because of the regulations, we need to make our technology fit and proper with the regulation first. So that's why we right now still focusing our technology to build one-story house or one-story building. So the school for the beginning will just one story, but I think it will consist about two or three classes.
Oh, I see. Yeah. How long does it take to build a house using 3D printing?
Using 3D printing technology, if you want to build the house, the 3D printing can build for now, yeah, only build the wall. Okay, the wall. Um, for our machinery and for our 3D construction printing technology that we built by our own to build the Type 36 house, it requires about 2 weeks for now because we are still in the middle of um, development to make this technology better. But in the future, for one house, it can to build the wall, to build the wall for one Type 36 house, it require just about 3 or 4 days
Oh,
for
I
one house.
see.
Yes. For now, we are still focusing to make it better first because we live in ring of fire. We
Oh,
need.
yeah.
That's right. Um, a lot of our house, not a lot of all of our house require reinforcement. So the one of the difficult thing in housing is the reinforcement. Like we have some kind of steel bar each 3 meter every 3 meters of the wall. So that thing that make the construction a little bit difficult, but right now we are already on our way to make it faster and more efficient. So the prospect is in the future, the potential one house can be built about 3 to 5 days. That
Oh,
is
I
the
see.
potential,
Oh,
yeah.
all right.
And it won't be long for us to do that.
Okay. That's really interesting as well. Um, all right. Okay. I think right now we can move to a Q&A session
All right.
where everyone will ask you some question. I think let's start off with mine since I was talking is now as well. But I would like to know, since you mentioned about the Ring of Fire, how is it that the materials for the construction are gonna be durable towards the hazards such as earthquakes and volcanic eruptions? Is it right now? Is it proof against these hazards? For Mr.
Okay.
Raja?
Okay, yeah. That's a really good question because a lot of people asking about that. That is the technical aspect of the building built by 3D construction printing. We live in the Ring of Fire country like Brunei, Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia as well. So, especially in our country, every house need reinforcement every 3 meters of the house, or maybe 5 meters of the house. Now, what we build using this technology is the house. As long as we know technically, wall is not the structure of the house or the building. For one-story building, the wall is not the structure. The real structure for the building or house, one-story building or house, is the reinforcement. As long as we have the reinforcement, the strength of the building, the strength of the building can withstand the earthquake in Indonesia, especially because we already have regulation about that. As long as we um, following the regulation of the earthquake proof building, we still be fine. And now we talk about the material itself. The real question about of you is the material itself. Our material, the strength of our material is between 20 to 25 MPa. For comparison, the basic strength, if you are using a brick, the brick is about here is the unit of the strength of the building material, while our materials is about 20 to 25 MPa. So in term of material strength, our materials is so strong. Our material is so strong, and at some point, some of our partner asked to us, Mr. Raja, please just reduce the strength, so we can reduce the cost, etc., etc., etc. Like 20 to 25 MPa is good, but somehow it's overkill. But it's still okay if you want to use it. Now, is it proven or not? In terms of the structure, we want to prove it with our first house, with our first house. Yeah. In our simulation, yeah, in our simulation, our house with this our house, which construction by 3D construction printing technology, can withstand the earthquake. So that's why,
Okay.
yeah, but that is still on the simulation, right? So that's why we want to prove it to people. So this is the real house. It you can see it by yourself. If we have earthquake, you can see it after it. Can it withstand it or not? And also in the next year, we want to build a lot of wall mechanism, printing mechanism for wall. So we can find the most efficient way, the most stronger way to build house using 3D construction printing. Yeah, the next year. For now, we are still using the zigzag one.
I
The
see, I
zigzag
see, I see. Okay, inshallah next year.
Yeah, inshallah.
Inshallah. I think there's a few questions for Mr. Ibrahim. There's one question that's been asked earlier on. So they say the question is from I don't know how to pronounce his name here. Editor HA, I think. He says here, what things to consider when to buy a 3D printer machine for beginners, and what software to use? Would you care to explain on that?
Actually, for the beginners, if he like doesn't have a license or is afraid of the license, he can use too many, like a Blender is a free. You can use Blender for designing. Mesh Mixer is a free, and also there is a Onshape online designing is a free. So he can use it and like design in a CL file, then send it to the 3D printer. So there is no license or training. He just put printer and then install it and start to print design. And he can design anything. He can like start to design a pen or a face or any structure that he would like, and he start to print. I just think the printer is so easy, like for the basic printers, the BLA one, you have 3 motors and you have a plate. You can level it up or down. Then the printer itself, it's a print and go up layer by layer.
I see. So you're saying that any 3D or CAD CAD software are able to help
Yeah,
you
and
design and then help it to connect to the 3D printer itself.
yeah. Any CAD designer recently from 2017, I think, you can save in a STL file, then like send it to the printer directly. Unless like if you are very professional and you need complex structures, you need a mesh mixer software called mesh mixer, or any software related to the printer, to see if you need a support for the design. Like if you print this design like this, so you need the support from here. The software itself, it will generate the support by itself, so you don't have to do many efforts. And inside also it's well done the support by itself and complete the designs and print it.
Okay. So for your opinion, what do someone who's new would have to consider, like would have to look into before buying a 3D printer?
How long he will print, what he will print, like which pieces he will print, because it differ. Because the cheaper printer, like 100 USD dollars printer, it can print for like one printer for 20 hours. But if he doesn't use it regularly, the filament will become hard and need to be maintenance. So each printer needs to be maintained so along with the time and cleaned and other stuff. But when he using every time, is he's passionate in design, he can starting with the cheapest one. There is too many printers, and also like if he passionate also in designing, he can buy the servo motors and access and build his own printers programming by himself. But this need like a time in designing the printer.
I see. So we need to consider the maintenance as well. How long it's gonna print, and the type of filament they use to for the printing as well. You need to consider. I mean, what happens if it's hardened, the filament hardened? Do you have to buy a new one, or what do you do?
There is a software for each printer separately. Like if the filaments harden inside that pipe, you send to the printer, heat the pipe. The pipe will be heat and extrude that one been hardened. But if the the original one is been hardened, you should throw it and install another one. It's not expensive, so you just the filament itself, like the ink. So you have a big rule. It's like 10 USD dollars, something like that. So you just change it. This is for the basic printer.
I see, I see, I see. I think there's one question. I like both of you to address this, Mr. Raja and Mr. Ibrahim. Since Brunei uh, is not really practicing 3D printing yet. I mean, it's not widely practiced. I mean, how do you both suggest that uh, should we introduce this 3D printing towards the locals, especially to the younger generations who will be the one who's going to pioneer or learn more about 3D printing here? I think let's start from Mr. Raja first regarding this.
I think one way to do it is by doing some kind of showcase about this technology, like we already did last week at Ministry of Public Housing. A lot of people still don't know about this technology, so that's why we need to come to them, quote to quote, door to door. We need to introduce this technology door to door. So that's why when we receive the offer to showcasing our technology in the front of the in the front of the minister, so we are not going to decline it, because that is one of our way to introduce this technology, and it works really well, because when we just see this technology from the video, from the video, from the conversation, from discussion, it will stay in their imaginations, it will just stay in their imagination. But if we can bring this technology in the front of their eyes, they can see it by themselves, they can taste it by themselves, they can try it by themselves, it can give a stronger impression to them. So one thing that I suggest to introduce this technology, we need to bring this technology in the front of them, maybe in the form of showcase, or maybe expo or something like that. And but for the first round, for the first step, the purpose is to educate and to introduce. That's it, what I can suggest for you for the first step. Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's the first step. You have to showcase your 3D printing design and 3D printing machines for the people to understand what is it and how it works. How about you, Mr. Ibrahim? What do you think that what's your suggestion how we should introduce this 3D printing industry towards our people, our locals?
Okay, actually, firstly, we have like to introduce it to students in a school and in universities. they will be more interested. And also we should like contact with the hospitals, universities. We show them the printer. They already, I think most of the education people and education field, they know about 3D printing, 3D printers industry. So they will join more and they will become more interested to learn more about the 3D printer, to practice. For the school, I have like I have experience. I started in 3D printing here in Malaysia. Before I used to do my designing by myself. When we were in the university, the Wagler SDN company came to ours. The printer itself is very expensive, but I started to see how it functions. So I start to show my passions to work with them. I done my internship with them. When I was doing my internship, I started to work with them again, and we used to go visiting schools. We make like teaching for kids, kids in garden, and then we go to universities. We go to the companies. We show them how they can like rapidly design their prototypes and show the people their prototypes, either in electrical or robotics or hospitals or constructions, even construction, as Mr. Raja said. So we can also, we should have the constructions how they can show a small prototype for like a train, for a big building, how it will be, or a small city. We can print a small city and assemble it. So they become interested and they started to purchase the printers. But the market of 3D printers has become more competitive and the prices is become very low comparing to the Wagler printer prices. So the Wagler has returned to Sweden. I think they have 2018 closed their branches here because their printer is very high quality and very expensive. The people prefer the cheaper and the manufacturers prefer the cheaper printer.
I see. I
For
see.
yeah.
So you're saying that universities should implement having a 3D printing lab inside their building so that students can actually design and have a prototype of their projects so that they can learn more physically on how each of these things work. I mean as mentioned before that 3D printing is it's expensive, but however it reduces a lot of things as well, like unnecessary waste that, as you mentioned, and it can be sustainable as well. So it's true. I get your point now. I mean, like we should educate people in the university, and we should educate people publicly as well, as Mr. Raja mentioned just now. There is a curious question here from
Can I show you
our.
before we go that?
Oh, sure, Mr.
Can
Raja.
I show you our showcase activity? It just happened like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I
Sure,
can show
sure.
you this. Okay. Can I share this my screen?
I think the technical team.
Yes. Just Okay. Wait. Okay. Now I will show you this one. I want to show you the video, but right now it's still downloading, so I will just show the photo. And this is us when we are showcasing our technology in the front of Ministry of Public Infrastructure and Public Housing. We show them this technology. We bring our machine to them, and then we print it. We print a lot. We print the object, and we give the object to them. We give the printed object to them because we want to give a strong impression that this technology, I can we want to give strong impression that I can use this technology. I can use the product. So the products that we give to them looks like this. Oh, don't this one. I'm not going to show you this one. So this is the one that we give to them. And we also show them that when we use this one, we are happy. So this is give yes, this is give a strong impression that this technology can be implemented in our real life. It's just not some kind of imagination. And let's say we have some kind of expose of the showcase. Maybe Ibrahim will bring his technology or his 3D printing machine to add to the expo. He prints something and he give to maybe some kind of kid, a kid in there, or maybe like me, I love to play maybe Tamiya Mini 4-wheel drive. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
we build the body, we build the chassis, or maybe a remote control car. We can build the body, we build the chassis, and we give it to them, just free, in with the purpose to educate them what our technology can do. So it will give a strong impression to them. So that's why it 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 is it the the basis of my my opinion about the showcase and the expo.
I think you should come to Brunei so we can get some free 3D printed products from you. Can we? I would
Yes,
like to
of
have the
course.
I would like to have the chair. Can you make it me a chair?
Of course, we can make it a chair.
All right. Okay. So there's this one curious question from Muhammad Fadlan. He says, I think this is for Mr. Ibrahim. He says that since animals and human body parts grow, would the patient need to replace occasional to prevent issues? This is meaning that using the 3D printed design for replacing the human parts. So you mentioned about hygiene just now, but this is more to like the human growth. So it means that do they have to replace the 3D printed area?
Recently, no, because they already like started to print from the cell of itself. Like if it's bone broken, they bring the cell itself, and then they produce it and let it to like generate by itself the live cell. Yeah. Like recently, they started to print the skin, and they changed the vein of the heart. The people who has problem with their heart and their skull, so they change the vein, like a live vein from the human. They take from the human himself, and they grow it, and then they printed the proteins and the ingredients of the cell, so it becomes the same as it. But but before it used to like you have to change it for that game. You have to change the skull. Recently, I think no need more to change because they're already producing the same cells of the human being. The
Oh,
printer itself, yeah.
I see. Okay, so it can grow together
Yeah,
with the current
the
structure they
study is
have.
still going on. The study is still going on, but most of the cells, like they are starting changing the air, fixing air, nose, a live cell, not a like plastic or something else. A live cells that can generate with the human being.
Oh, I think that's really gonna change everything. I mean, now, no, probably people have to grow or maybe have to replace their arm with a plastic
Yeah,
surgery or and stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. That's really interesting. Okay. I think we can ask a few more questions. I think there's a question from Mr. Muhammad Effendi. He has a two-part question. He said two parts question. One, how heavy is the 3D printed table or chair? I think that's for Mr. Raja. And I think it's for Mr. Raja as well. I think, do the house requires a foundation first, like how when doing basic printing, leveling is necessary? So I think this is for Mr. Raja.
Okay, so the first question: do the house requires foundation foundation first, like how when doing basic printing, leveling is necessary? Yes, we require foundation first because as we already discussed it, that we live in ring of fire region, so we really need the foundation, and the leveling is necessary as well, but that is not problem. Even though we are using 3D construction printing technology, it can adapt to the requirement of foundation and building reinforcement. And second, how heavy is the 3D printed table and chair? Because it's made of concrete, it's quite heavy. The smallest chair is weighs about 30 to 40 kilos,
Oh,
and the
that's
big
heavy.
the big one is about 100 kilos. Yeah, it's quite heavy though, to be honest.
Okay, I don't want a chair now. It's too heavy for me to carry around.
If you want to open a coffee shop, that is very good for you to using that kind of the chair, because it's kind of industrial naturalist style of design, you know. That's um our kind of style.
All right, all right. Okay, all right. We have one question. I think I would like to address this to you both. Um, the question is from an anonymous. Is he says or she says is that is it difficult to navigate through a relatively new technology? And do you have any industry mentors to guide you or as your aspiration? I think any one of you can answer this.
Maybe Abraham can answer that, because I already speak for to answer the question. Abraham, go ahead, Ibrahim.
Again, what's the question?
The question is that is it difficult to navigate through a relatively new technology, and do you have any industry mentors to guide you or as your aspiration?
Recently, for me to guide me in the same industry, I'm working in 3D modeling. So I'm like designing and produce in CNC machines that are related to metal. Is this related to the answer?
Yeah, I think it can be.
So you for me at the beginning it's a hobby in designing. I started like design by myself from when I was young, and it was very difficult. You draw and then you try to cut the cartoon or the assembly some bridge, some houses, something. But when I started to study in engineering and robotics, mechatronics, I started to join 3D, and then now I'm working in the same field relative to my study, relative to my passions, and it's fit my ambitions to design 3D and produce a 3D products.
Okay, I see, I see. How about you, Mr. Raja? Do you have any mentors that guiding you or anyone who you look at for your aspiration in 3D printing?
Of course, I do. Yeah, I do have a lot of mentors actually. Yeah, I have the mentors to teach me about the industry, especially the construction industry in general. I have mentors in developing a startup company, and I also have a mentors in terms of developing this technology. Like when we built this technology in 2018, it's like no one else built this technology in this country, so we really built it from scratch. So uh, at that point of time, we really don't know anything, especially in technology. If we talk about the mentor in construction industry, we can find it almost no difficulty. And if you want to find a mentor for building company, seems like no difficulty necessary. But in terms of developing technology, we really need to work our foot. What I mean work our foot is like we need to go from one university to other university. You need to go. What I do is I went from one university to another university, from one technology developer to another technology developer. So the struggle is quite real in the first 2 years, and in 2019, finally we got one mentor special for technology development. So yes, I do have mentor, and we all need mentors to develop this technology. And my advice is we should not only have one mentor. We need to have a lot of mentors in this kind of technology development. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree on that. That we need a lot of money because having one perspective from the other person is nice, but
Yep,
having multiple mentors who share different perspective really broadens up
definitely,
and opens
definitely.
up your mind as well.
Yep,
Okay,
definitely.
yeah, I understand that. I think we can slot in one last question. I think this question is for Mr. Ibrahim. I think this question from Krishna. He says that is the 3D printed foods is healthier than original food. What do you think? What do you say on that?
Yeah, actually, I think it will be healthier, especially for hospitals, because they have to specify the type of the food. You have to eat protein by gram. You send to the printers what ingredients that you want to eat and how many, like protein, how many carbohydrates, how many energy that you need. So it's like give you the exact thing. So even the 3D printer started to work in medicine. So like today, to morning I need specific of medicine. Morning, afternoon I need another different of quantity of medicine. So it's printed like a specific medicines in hospital, and they started to work with the medicine to produce medicine. And instead, they're putting filaments, they're putting the medicines there, and then it's generate like tablet with a specific weight, specific ingredients for the patients.
Oh, I see. Okay. I think that kind of makes sense now. But I don't know if it's. I think it's the preference of healthier. It's depend on the person as well. Like,
Person.
yeah, what do you think about that? Okay,
If
I
you
think I.
have, sorry, if you have the ingredients like for the pizza, you have the pepperoni, olive, and everything. It's can like cook it for you and submit it to you directly. So it
Yes.
depends on the ingredients.
I would really love to try having a 3D printer for food at home so that I wanna try to make the foods that you can't have in your own country, like for example food
Right.
from Pakistan, from Indonesia, or from England as well, that we would love to try, since
Yeah.
we some of the products that or the ingredients can't be found in locally as well. All right,
Yeah.
I think that is all for today. I would like to say my thanks to Mr. Raja and Mr. Ibrahim for today's session. It was really insightful. It was really like an eye-opening. I mean, 3D printing business could flourish really well in Brunei, provided we set a target. Who are we focusing on? But for me, I think if we more focus on education wise, I think 3D printing will be a good business, because really helps the students to understand mentally, theoretically, and also to understand the physical aspects of the products they design, and how it works, and how will it serve the country, and also how it serve the people as well. I mean, thank you so much for the wonderful insight. I think I would like to pass the floor to Mr. Nur Elham for the closing remarks. Thank you so much.
Hi. Thank you to our speakers, Ebrahim Emran and Raja Risqi, for the informative and insightful session today. And our thanks also goes to our moderator, Hazman. Again, thank you to all, and your participation is very much appreciated. I hope everyone was able to have some fruitful takeaways that will be beneficial for your business and also for your organization. Now, I shall pass the floor to our facilitator, Hani. Thank you very much.
All right. So Alhamdulillah, we have come to the end of the seminar. Thank you again to AITI for this opportunity to expand our knowledge on 3D printing, and also to our esteemed speakers, Ebrahim Emran and Raja Risqi, for being so kind to share your insights on the industry. With that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and have a great day.
Thank you so much. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.